everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mercy, and today I have an amazing guest. So, this is somebody I know from way back. It is not somebody I know from today, somebody I know from way back. And today we are going to be talking about how you can move to the UK via the study route, either as a master's student or as a PhD student. And this is somebody who has gone through both routes and scholarship availability, scholarship options for you to consider if you want to move as a student. So, we will first of all give our guest the room to introduce herself, to tell us about her, and then we can, go on to the business for today. So, please, can you tell us about yourself?
Thank you so much, Mercy. Okay. I think I should start by saying that my name is Mercy.
Hi,
I'm here
Mercy.
with Mercy. So, hi, Mercy from Mercy. My name is Mercy Martins. I am Nigerian, obviously. And I am a first year, almost second year PhD student here at the University of Bath.
Whoop,
And
whoop.
I did my master's at the University of Bristol, both
Mhm.
under two different scholarship. And yeah, I'm here to discuss about scholarship opportunities and study routes. So thank you, Mercy, for having me.
Oh, lovely. Thank you for, accepting to come on the channel. So, we want you to tell us about this, like you have said, and we want you to please break it down for us. Make it very simple so that whoever watches this video would understand it. I don't use big languages, just simple English, basically. So over to you. Can you please tell us, what we need to be aware of, the things that we need to consider, the documents we need to get, all of this information. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mercy. For starters, I never intended to use any big English. You see, academic jargons is for academic purposes. So
Thank
yeah.
you.
So let's go back to it. So when Mercy told me that she wanted me to talk about scholarship opportunities and study route, I was thinking about ways to convey the conversation very easily and naturally. So I was thinking we should start with first of all debunking this myth about winning scholarship or the opportunity to come and study abroad. You don't need a first class to do it. You
Oh,
can come here with your 2-1 or 2-2. I have friends that have either 2-1 or 2-2. When I was doing my master's, I had many friends that got a scholarship with a 2-1. So it's not something new anyway.
just
Uh,
before we go, can people with pass can they get scholarship as well?
Now that's a very technical one. So when you have a past, some universities so that's very hard. So sometimes universities allow you to do post study diploma first before you
Okay.
go on to a master's. And
Mm.
sometimes when you have a pass and you have a master's, you can do another master's. So it
Uh,
depends on the university. Um, for things like this, you need to look for the university and know the requirement and talk to the
mhm.
admissions team, which is very good thing about the UK university as they're very, very conversational. So you can easily like shoot them an email or have a friend of yours call them over here and talk
Mhm.
about this issue. This particular question is quite interesting because I have a friend that we are going through this process for with that because she had some issues with her results. So yeah, it's really possible, but it takes time.
Oh,
But
okay.
then you can study with a pass, but getting a scholarship with a pass can be a bit problematic, except you defend why you have a pass. Some people have a pass because they had health issues or they have issues, those
Mhm.
issues like that. It's fine.
Okay.
If you defend it, you can get it. So you don't need a first class. And I need to say this again and again because I think this is something that demotivate people from applying for scholarship. So I'm
Mhm.
also going to say something I've never said before. I didn't get a distinction in my masters. I got a distinction in my so I didn't get a full distinction in my masters, and I still got a scholarship for my PhD. So even though I was on track for a distinction, but I didn't get it, so that's fine. And I still have. So what does that tell you? You don't need a distinction. So I'm a living case study.
And but I think everybody needs to know that you graduated with your first class with your bachelor's because I'm very proud. I know that information. So yes, you graduated with the first class. So we
Yeah,
put it out there.
and I think this conversation about finishing with the first class in my master's, I think if I forget, Messi, you should please remind me as I go on to the document needed. I need to say something about that. So
Okay.
aside from debunking the myth about winning a scholarship, I also want to talk about scholarship opportunities. So There are different types of scholarship opportunities that you can avail yourself to. There are
Okay.
scholarship opportunities that are external, which means when you get them, you can study at any university of your choice, or you need
Hmm.
admission in any university to get the scholarship. There are also scholarships that are internal to institutions. So those scholarships are scholarships you get when you apply to a particular institution and you get admission in the institution and you can apply for this scholarship. There's also
Okay.
scholarship that come with project funding where you're getting the scholarship because you want to study a particular issue that have a funding. So
Mhm.
let me come back to each of them. So let's start with let's say first. So the beautiful thing is I have gotten both an external and internal scholarship. So I know a little bit of both. So I'll
Okay.
go back to my masters. Just to clarify, and because I think it's a very important part of my identity, I'm a Commonwealth shared scholarship holder for my master's degree. So I'm a Commonwealth alum. So I need to say that because I think it really shaped who I am today. So for external scholarship, you need to search for scholarships that are available to your nationality. I'm thinking maybe most people in your life are from the global south. So by
Mhm.
global south, I mean Africa and other countries that is not Europe or North America. So you need to, because some scholarship have countries that can apply for them. Example of those kind of external scholarship can be like the Commonwealth Scholarship, the Chevening Scholarship, the Gates Cambridge Scholarship, the Rhodes Scholarship. And so there's another one called the SWTDP, which is the Southwest Doctoral Training Program, but that's for Southwest. So the beautiful thing about this one is they have different ones for different regions. So I know SWTDP because I'm in the Southwest. The Midlands have theirs, the North have theirs, and the rest of it. Now, this scholarship I've mentioned, most of them have opportunities for masters and opportunities for PhD students. With Commonwealth, I was there on the track of masters, but then they also have opportunities for PhD students. The same thing with Chevening, although Chevening have lots of master students, especially people doing more of education, but they can also give other people, but that's more or less their strategic influence. You can
Okay.
have the Gates Scholarship, the Rhodes. Rhodes is very coveted, but when you get Rhodes, you're really big. And then the SWTDP. But the SWTDP, the beautiful thing about it is they offer what they call the 3+1, which
Okay.
means they can offer you a PhD plus a year of masters of research, or they can offer you PhD directly. So the 3+1 is, let's say you're coming from Nigeria with a master's, but then they don't feel like, or you're not sure that you have all the research skills needed for a PhD. So you do a master's of research and they fund it all.
Oh,
Now,
oh, that's
for
good.
yes, so you get 3+1 is written. So you first of all finish that and then you go to the next one. But for the
Hmm.
internal to school, these are the scholarships that are available to particular schools. So, for example, when I was doing my master's at the University of Bristol, there's a scholarship called the Think Big Scholarship. It's given to people that they think have a lot of prospects and they want to be change makers. Now, this scholarship can be given to different people, but I think the focus mainly on people from the global south because I had a friend from China that got the scholarship. Had a friend from India that got the scholarship. So those are scholarships you can also apply for. Now, to apply for this scholarship, you have to go to the university you are looking to study. For example, you want to go to University of Bristol, and then you look for scholarships provided by the university, and then you see some of the scholarships. You see the availability and the eligibilities for some of the scholarship. You need to study a particular course to get it. We need to be in a particular field, so you have to ensure that they match what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Now, for internal scholarship, because currently I'm on the University Research Studentship Award, which is called OSA. It is internal to the University of Bath. Now, when I got my admission at the University of Bath, initially I applied to FWTDP and also said I was also interested in OSA. So at some point, when I was kept on reserve for SWTDP, they'll send you a message or an email asking you if you want to be considered for the next scholarship, if you get the admission. And then
Okay.
they use all your qualifications. If you have applied for another scholarship and they have the records, they can use it or they ask you for interviews or anything. I think there's something I wanted to say more importantly is the fact that when you're applying for scholarship, you have to also look what they call the code emailing. It's called code emailing because you know what you want to do, right? Maybe you want to
Mhm.
study globalization in in trade in Africa. This is just a very random topic. I don't know why I said that. You have to look for people I think one of the first trick I can give, I don't know why I'm cutting myself all the time, is when you're reading articles that are very interesting, take note of the authors of those articles.
Okay.
And that's how I got my supervisor, to be fair. So it's quite interesting. Take note of the authors of those articles, check the university they come from. If it's a university you're interested in, you send them an email. So one thing is you have to be very pers- um no, tenacious when you're looking for scholarship. You're not going to get it once. So people get it like when they just apply, they get it. But then in most cases it's not like that. So you have to send emails to potential people you think have knowledge enough to supervise you, especially for PhD
Mm-hmm.
scholarships. For masters, you don't need this. You just need a beautiful statement of purpose and the rest. I'm going to get to that at some point. But for PhD, you need to be able to send emails to professors, different types of professors, or even lecturers, senior lecturers in your field, and not all of them are going to respond to you. You have to know
Sure.
this. In fact, I
Mm-hmm.
think 75% will not respond to you. But one of the ways to ensure that you get most response is how you word those emails. You have to
Mm,
look like you know what you're looking for, you're prepared for it, and you're going to maximize every opportunity. In most cases, send them your research proposals when you're cold emailing. So if they look at the email and they're interested, they look at your research proposal, they know what you're doing, and if they're interested, they'll get back to you. Why this is important is because those lecturers or those professors are the ones that will even point you to where to look at for scholarships
yeah.
because they already know. And when they like you, they can also help you do what they call reviewing your documents. Because if they really want you and they know you're competing with many people, they'll offer their expertise just to ensure that you get in. I
Mm,
remember when I was applying for my scholarship, my supervisor now looked at the document and gave me pointers because she
mm,
really wanted me to come. So that's how you can do that. So remember, they have external scholarship that when you get them, you can apply to any schools across the UK. We have
mhm.
internal scholarships to schools, and then you have like scholarships that are based on project funding, and then you have to also code email. So, but then aside telling you all this, where do you actually search for scholarships? I think this is a question that some people ask, but as a Nigerian, I don't think most Nigerians should ask this question because we are always used to finding our own way. We are pathfinders. But just for the purpose of this life, I've written a couple. Findaphd.com is a place where you get lots of scholarship. And the beautiful thing about findaphd.com is they tell you if the scholarship is project funded, there's no scholarship for the cause, if there's partial funding, if there's funding to only like national students, or if there's only national funding. In the UK, when you, for example, I think my fees is close to £22,000 per annum, but
Mm,
people from UK they pay like £11,000. So there's a stark difference between
yes.
what citizens and non-citizens pay. And sometimes the fundings may be only available for citizens,
Mm,
or the funding may be only applicable to the citizens' price, which is like a partial funding. So if you are getting to those kind of scholarship, you also have to put in the back of your mind that you may have to contribute 50% of the
mm,
fee. So these are like some of them are full for international students. Some of them are just home students. So you can actually ask them, okay, I'm applying, but I'm international. What is going to be like the situation? They can tell you, okay, we're only going to be able to give this amount of money. You have to contribute this amount of
the
money.
rest. Yeah.
There's also constant negotiations going on. Even when you get admission, sometimes you can negotiate and they can give you more or give you less, depending on your situation. Depends on
Okay.
how much they want you. I have a friend that even though he got a PhD external scholarship, because of where he was coming from, the school decided to pay for his flight, which is not normal for PhD students. Because for PhD we are supposed to take ourselves to the destination, but for his situation, he couldn't afford to do that. So it depends on how much the university wants you, or how
Mm,
much your professor wants you, or how much your department wants you, because these are different places where funds can be removed from different money pots or different project code to help you. Apart from findaphd.com, which I think is really important, everybody that is doing a scholarship or looking for study opportunities should always go to that app almost all the time, to be fair. I think there's also one they call Opportunities for Africans. These are for African people, not only scholarship, you can also get fellowships there.
okay.
Um, fellowships there, get like to go to different places. There's also jobs.ac.uk because research positions is a job. doing a PhD is a job, so they can get some opportunities there. Now, aside
And
this,
just before you go on, at the end of this video, you're just going to send me the links to, these places that you're mentioning. So I can put them in the description box or in the comment section, and whoever is interested can just go on and have a read further and,
yeah,
start the application process.
yeah, I think I can because it's
Thank
just
you.
three. And then aside from these places, you can also go to LinkedIn. So in LinkedIn, the beautiful thing about LinkedIn is you can follow professors that are interesting to you, and sometimes they post vacancies, or like they post
Mhm.
when other people talk about wanting to have a research student. So you can also leverage LinkedIn,
Oh, yeah.
um, follow people that are in your field, so you know what is happening in the field, you know programs happening in the field, you know conferences happening in the field, you know,
Mm,
because you can also use conference as a way of networking to get a scholarship or to get a
yeah.
study route, because you can always use it to come to any country or meet them somewhere. You can, some conferences are online or hybrid. It's also a way of making yourself known in the field. You can also harness the Twitter search button, where you look for Twitter hashtag scholarship, you look at scholarship opportunities, you follow reputable brands on Twitter like Commonwealth, Cambridge Gates, Rhodes. You know when they open their scholarship, you know when their scholarship
Mhm.
closes. You follow professionals that repost when people need, especially in the sciences. I think they are so lucky. You know, I need a student that is doing molecular this one, molecular that. So these are ways to where to search. But then use Google. Use like Google. Google is your best friend. Ask,
Mm.
write on Google scholarship opportunities in the UK. Ask Google, where can I get scholarships from? Ask Google, like, what are the scholarship opportunities available in England? Then go to the university page, look at it. So one thing is, you have to be willing to put the work if you want to get the reward, because they're going to be investing so much in you. So you have to put the work to show that you're interested in getting the reward.
True.
Yeah, aside from that, in terms of documents you need, there are different documents you need for scholarship, depending on whether you're looking for masters. So it's very difficult because I'm talking about masters and PhD at the same time. So I have to remind myself constantly. You need obviously your certificates and transcripts, which can be statement of result, also can also be accepted in some schools. You need your academic CV, which should be ideally 2 pages, 1 to 2 pages, nothing so much, or 1 to 3, 1 to 2 pages. Because at this point, you're looking for a master's or PhD. I don't know what you have done, except you're a professional with like 5 years experience. So you can have like three, but ideally 1 to 3, ideally 2 or 1.5. You don't. What have you done that you want to write and fill the whole page? Calm down, everybody. Um, like it's not like I don't think you have done a lot, but it's more or less like you're in the early beginning, you're in the early stage of your career. So what are you writing? That's like an academic CV. If you do things that are not related to your academics, you don't have to put it there. And also, you can have 5 versions of academic CVs for yourself for scholarships. So
Mm.
you're applying to a place where you want to do diplomacy. I don't know how to explain. You're applying to a place where you want to do law. The things you have done that makes you the best candidate are the things you bring out in that place. You're applying
Mm.
to another place where you want to do international relations. The things you have done that highlights that role is what you put there. You have to be very strategic. Don't put one
Yeah.
generic CV and send out. You have to, if for example you had a position in the university, in your university, your undergrad, and let's say for me, for example, I was director of publicity. How does that relate to what you're applying for? You're applying for international development. For example, my master's was international development and security. Applying for international security, development and security. How does that becomes very important? You talk
Mm.
about how you were part of the group that held the mock program, the UN mock program in the university. You did this. You brought in the ambassador of. These are things that make you look like, oh, this person knows a little bit about this. You can't just
Yeah.
put one thing for all positions. You have to make sure that the positions you're putting it for relates to what you're applying for. You have to ensure that you show that you know what you're doing. And that's
Mm-hmm.
something that is very critical. And then you also need recommendation letters. You know, all those your lecturers that you're fighting with, you have to go and settle with them now. Because for now, you go nowhere without them. So I
Mm.
think my trick is just start greeting them for now, from now. Like, good morning, sir. Good afternoon, ma. Good evening, ma. Be very patient with them. Good afternoon, ma. My mommy said I should greet you. My daddy said I should greet you. Sir, I've sent you 1 5 recharge card. I was thinking about you. I don't know where I'll be with that. Start from now, because why do you buy this so? There's also the thing about I'm on live, so I can't say everything in my mind, but I don't care. I'll say. Remember, if someone sends you a recommendation letter in 2023 and you're applying for school 2025, it's important for the recommendation letter to show that it is from 2025. So one of the ways you can do it is you tell them the letter you sent me 2023, I want it for 2025. Can you just either send me back and change the date, or can I change it for you? Have a conversation with them, whatever you do, but you need your recommendation letter. You don't have to get it all the time, every year, every year. Talk to them and let them know that you are affecting the change to reflect the new year. I don't think it's bad, as if they are aware of it, but you
Yeah.
need. So what you should do, what I did was I had about 5 or 6 recommendation letter from different. I was my
You were
department
very
baby.
social, so
I was
it's
my department
expected.
baby, so that's fine. But another thing is, one thing I realize is, don't be moving. Oh, you want a professor to write for you. I think it doesn't really matter as much as the okay. The title of the person is important, but it is not as important as the context of the
Of
content
the
of
letter.
the recommendation. Because I had a professor write me a recommendation that is as generic as the word generic goes. Messi is a good student, she'll be wonderful. There's nothing there. I taught Messi this course. This is what Messi did. My interaction with Messi is with this. This is how Messi, this, because she interacted with me like this, I think Messi is suitable for this, this, and this. That's a good recommendation letter. Because it's very
Mm.
specific, it's not generic. So that's why you should have different recommendation letter, not just only the professors and the senior lecturers. If you're very close to a doctor, please let them write for you. He's already
Mm.
a doctor or senior lecturer, because sometimes some of these universities they don't really care about this title. Title is important, but then sometimes the content is more important than the title. And
Just a
then
quick one before you go on.
yeah, tell
For
me.
for the recommendation letters, people who are done with their bachelor's, say they're no longer in school and say they are working, can they
Yeah,
get recommendation letters from people from their workplaces, or it has to be from school?
that's a very good question, Messi. It's very good because I actually forgot to mention this.
Okay.
Um, for I'll use for example Commonwealth. In short, most scholarship have two brands of recommendation letters. They
Mm.
have the academic and then the professional.
Okay.
Now,
Mm.
in most cases, they allow you to have maybe all of them to be academic if you are still in school.
Okay.
Commonwealth, for example, have academic, professional, and personal, allowing them to evaluate you as a holistic person. So
Yeah.
what happens is sometimes if you don't have professional, you're allowed to bring two academic and one personal. But in most cases, standard practice is academic and professional. So even if you have left school for like 4 5 years ago, it doesn't matter. You were taught by somebody, right? That's why it's
Mm.
good to have it on time, and then you can be changing the year because they can forget you after many years. But you can, it's not a bad because it is a lot of students.
No, but it is expected. So.
Yeah. So and then you get from that, and then you get from your professional. It's also very important that when you are working with someone or in an organization, and you know that you may go for scholarship soon,
Mm.
discuss with someone you're working with. Let them have like a draft recommendation letter for you. Because number one, you don't know whether you're going to have issues with them when you leave. You don't know whether the person is going to leave the company before you leave. You don't know whether the person is going to be out of work when you are leaving. So
Mm.
plan all these things early when they are seeing you. So if they are writing generic, you can tell them, boss, good afternoon, sir. May God bless you, sir. But this one you're writing like this. And it's not what they say we should write. There's a template, sir. You can tell
Mm.
them timely and then they can change it. Because if you go out of the organization and you're asking them for stuff, most times they don't give you what you're looking for. I did my internship with ECOWAS, right? So when I was about leaving, I got some recommendations from ECOWAS. Now, it's because I was there. That's why I got what I liked. And one of the things I realized was, aside from the people I worked with directly, because ECOWAS allows you to like sit in on meetings and have other like engagements.
Mm.
There was a particular translator that was always brought in from abroad, from one of these French speaking countries for meetings. It's really big. was one of my recommendation. Was one people that wrote recommendation letter for me.
Oh,
He's
that's
not
good.
permanent in Abuja, but because I realized that the way this man is speaking English like this, when he writes that English down for me, it's 2 pages. Very good recommendation letter. I
Oh,
have
that's good.
others, but you get the point, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you have to realize, because if I didn't, if for example, when I left ECOWAS, talking to him became a hassle because it's very
Mm-hmm.
hard to find him. But when I was in ECOWAS, it was easier for
That's
me to
very
meet him.
easy.
And then not just my department or my directorate gave me recommendation letter. I got recommendation letter from different directorates too. So that also helped me in ensuring that I had, because when I was applying, I applied for different schools. So what I did was I applied using different recommendation letters because I had it, right? It's not the
Mm-hmm.
most ideal, but I had it. So it was really important. And it's not like recommendation letter have like a very big impact, but you don't know the difference between you and somebody else. So you see scholarship positionings or scholarship positions are rated. Like you're given a score for everything. Let's say when you make a first class, you're given 4. When you make a 2-1, you're given 3. Let's say different ratings. When you make a 2-2, you're given 2. I'll give you an example. How many years of experience do you have? You're given numbers. At the end of the day, the difference between you and the next person can be 1 or 2.
Yeah,
And that
that's
can be something that a good recommendation letter or a good
true.
recommendation can just cover up for you easily. So
Yeah.
it's like a free mark in a very difficult exam. Why don't you go for it?
Yeah, that's true though.
Anyway, going further on, you need your research proposal. You see, this one, I don't like talking about it because even me, I struggled with it because, let's be fair, when you apply for scholarship or PhD, it's not as if what you're looking for is the only thing you're looking for. You're most likely looking for opportunities in a particular field.
Yeah.
It's a field, not like it has to be A for apple, B for ball. So how do you now write a research proposal that fits is A for ball, or A is the letter in the alphabet. They can use for B the letter in the alphabet. So one of the things you can do is you can have like 3 different research proposals. This will take time, but then it pays,
Yeah.
right? But you don't have to change everything. You can just change some few things depending on the places you're submitting to. Another thing
Mm-hmm.
is to ensure that you submit to a place that is closely linked, so you don't have to change a lot. But it is very important to have a research proposal. And I'm going to say this because I don't know. I just feel like because I'm talking here and Messi is my friend, I'm just going to give you guys all the secrets. So if you have, I'm talking very slow because I don't want people to hear. If, for example, you're interested in doing a particular research, now write out what you're interested to do in the research. Write out um why you want to do the research. Write all these things out and give it to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT, look at what I'm interested in. How do I formulate a research proposal using this? Now, ChatGPT will give you a prompt. Now, it is very important not to copy that prompt, please. I'm not Never copy the prompts. But what you do with the prompt is it gives you a step-by-step guideline
Yeah.
of what to write. Of what to write. But the most important thing, don't go and tell ChatGPT, give me a prompt of no. Tell ChatGPT, for example, I'm interested in refugees education, in refugees education, and particularly focused on Ukrainian refugees in the UK. How are they coping? Is there social cohesion? And why I'm interested in this is because with the issues of climate change and conflict, a lot of refugees are forced to leave or to leave their home. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about how do they cope, especially with keeping up with their cultural heritage, so on. And so you write it down. And I'm thinking of asking questions about giving of using narrative analysis of them telling us their stories of when they came and how they are faring now. How do you think this idea can be written in a proper research proposal? They'll give you a prompt and then you follow it. You follow like how you sell the idea, because a research proposal, you are ideally selling yourself. If you don't know how to sell yourself, please go and learn. You can't be humble. That's what, thank God I remembered now, because okay, we're going down to it. I'll just bring it now. You can't be humble because aside from a research proposal, you need a personal statement. This is where you can't be humble. I remember the first time I wrote my personal statement, I wrote, yes, I finished with the first class, this, and I left it at that. Someone told me something, said, you're applying for Commonwealth, and 80% of students applying for Commonwealth with you finish with the first class.
True.
So finish with the first class is like I'm Nigerian. There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
big about it if you don't make it big. That's when you have to go on and be like, okay, for example, in my case, I was the first female to ever finish with the first class in in the department, and I broke a 37-year record. I don't know why I kept that separate because I didn't feel like it was important. Mercy,
You
please
didn't feel
calm
like it
down.
was a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's not like I didn't feel like I know it was a big deal, but I felt like it would come across as bragging. But then
Hmm.
I'm reading the comments. So sometimes I get carried. I get, but then I forget the fact that if I don't brag or sell myself, other people are going to sell themselves, and these people don't know me. So you can't be matching that because you wrote you finished the
Yeah.
first class. They will
Mm.
not come into your brain and find out that, oh, she's not just a normal first class. So this is what she did. Oh, she's really good. I'm going to pick her up. If you don't,
Mm.
you don't know how to do it.
Sure.
So you have to shine your eye. It's like you're fighting. I spoke to a friend of mine. It's like I feel like scholarship opportunities are more or less you're fighting, right? If you feel like maybe your strength is in your leg, and because you don't want to look as if you're Raz, you want to fight with your hand, you're going to lose. And you lose badly. Because other people, if their strength is in their head, they'll use their head and hit you well. So where if this one is busy laughing at me. And see,
I'm being listening.
there are different ways of showing your strength. First class is just one of them.
Mm.
You understand? There's also people sell this. People sell people use their crisis. Yeah,
Mm.
they profit from their crisis. Maybe you lost your you lost a very important person in your life during your schooling. That is why it reflected badly on your grade. But you pick it up. You joined bad friends, but then you pick it up. You were doing bad, but then you didn't give up. You graduate. So there are different stories you can tell from your personal statement. It can be a story of like resilience, which is when you can
Mm.
finish the 2-1 and then they'll treat you like you're a god. You
Mm.
can also use the story of grass to grace. You
Mm.
had to sell pure water, you had but Nigerians have bombarded the whole grass to grace story. Everybody is from a poor community that they are walking 2 kilometers. You don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, aside from the fact that everybody have like a unique positioning as to why they want to study a course, or as to why they finished a particular grade, or as to why um there's so many like different reasons why people have different angles to write their research. So it's
Mm-hmm.
always important for you to know the angle you are trying to write from and then stick to that angle
Yeah.
and ensure that your story is cohesive. You can't just talk about one thing all the time. You
Mm.
can't. You have to ensure that you talk about everything. Like there are different things you have to talk about in your personal statement. And I'm talking to you guys now. I never thought I was going to talk about this, and I'm trying to see if I can find there's the 4 steps of personal statement. I think there's one about your personal achievement, your your personal achievement, professional, is it your professional, like your professional goal, your leadership stride, and one more. There are 4. I think I'll find it later and talk to Mercy about it. But I think it's
Thank
just
you.
a basic way of writing personal statements. What I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is you have 500 words. You have to ensure that each paragraph talk about something. You can't talk about the fact that you finished the first class in the entire personal statement. It means you're not a holistic human being. Is it already first class you're doing in school? No. Talk about the fact that you held a particular position in the school. Talk
Mm-hmm.
about the fact that when you came to the school, this is who you are. After you finish from school, this is what you did. Leadership, that's
Mm-hmm.
like, there should be a growth factor
Yeah.
in your personal statement, which is really because the reader needs to understand that you're constantly growing, not just
Mm.
academically, but you're
Yeah.
well-rounded. And
Mm.
then if you have like achievements. You guys hosted this, you did this for your department. I was a
Mm-hmm.
tutor for my department for a long time. So you don't have to do the biggest jobs. Be consistent in doing one thing and sell it. And also, to be honest with you, it's like a CV. You can actually just help the university pick one debt from the floor. This is how you write that one debt you picked from the floor that matters, not the one debt you picked from the floor. You can be like you have been only very passionate about environmental, what's this thing, environmental something something, and that was why you ensure that you're part of the sanitation team that ensure that waste on the floor do not, English words. just use English, and after all, they colonized. I don't know. Yeah. And, uh, and then there's also the optional thing of the language proficiency test, where you can either do IATS, TOEFL, Duolingo, depending. I think Messi knows more about it. Depending, it's not always one one way. For me now, I know that I argued from Nigeria. You can also make an argument in some schools saying that you're from
Yeah.
Nigeria and English is
And
your language, so you don't need all this. In some cases, you can't argue. Sometimes some schools are very strict on it, but there's also a chance. There's also a place to argue. Remember this. And if you don't have money, argue. But there's no point spending money to go and write IELTS. But
it's
obviously, at
expensive
this
now.
is
It's over two
very
hundred thousand naira.
who get that who have that kind of money. I don't want to go back to being Nigerian pigeon. But then I go speak am because I'm a decolonial researcher. And of course, as a decolonial researcher, I'm not supposed to speak only English up and down. So I'm very sorry, Mercy, but then I go speak am.
That's
I'm
fine.
a Nigerian decolonial researcher, so that's fine. So yeah, also almost penultimate thing I want to talk about was tips to winning a scholarship in the UK, and one of them is to cast your net wide. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
applying for a scholarship and you're applying to one. It doesn't work like that. When I was applying to Commonwealth, I think I applied to about 7 or 11. Just
Wow.
Commonwealth. I'm just giving you one. I applied to Commonwealth. I applied to Mastercard. I applied to Chevening. No, Chevening, there was something criteria about Chevening. I don't know. I think I didn't have the 2 years when I applied the first time. I don't know. I applied to many. I also even applied to Mandela Road at some point. You have to
Mm.
apply to many, So when I say I'm a multiple award winning scholarship holder, yes, I won many. But that's not because I'm special. It's because I applied to many. So
Okay.
one of the good thing about applying to many is that either you get one scholarship or you get a lot, so you get to choose.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, you are choosing who you will spend their money. Is that not just amazing?
True.
Apply to many. Don't apply. Don't allow anybody deceive you. Oh, I'm applying to one or two. Now who get choice? 90 the year. If you don't have choice, nobody will hear your story. So
True.
don't get them applying to one or two. If you can apply to seven, my dear brothers and sisters, please apply. Apply. Take your time. Don't apply generic.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
beautiful thing is, I went to Bristol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bristol was the last school I applied for, either the 7th or the 11th. And I remember
Mm.
applying to Bristol, standing up, holding my computer. So what happened was, after applying to all the schools I applied to, I randomly found Bristol and I saw that they had 7 slots for Commonwealth, one for each course. And I felt, oh, it's seven, they must be rich. Let me apply there. I didn't even know that Bristol was one of the top 10 schools in the UK. I don't even know. So I remember standing, talking to my auntie, walking up and down with my laptop, and I applied to Bristol. And that's the school I went to. Although I got
Mm.
other ones. I think there's one particular school that they only had one slot,
One
and I
slot.
got it, but I rejected it because there was no way I was gonna leave England. Just saying. But I'm not gonna say more than that because I feel to go to that school for my postdoc. I cannot talk anyhow. There's also you have to join scholarship groups and communities online. There are some on WhatsApp or there are some on LinkedIn.
Mm.
Um, by LinkedIn, I mean when you follow certain people, like Victor always post about scholarship. Victor Aboga, I think, he always post about scholarships. There are different scholarship groups and communities. Ask your friends. You'll always find someone that knows a scholarship group like Commonwealth Group, Erasmus Mundo. I also applied for
Yeah.
Erasmus
Yeah.
Mundo,
I heard of Erasmus.
different types and the rest of it. And then subscribe to strategic YouTube channels that talks about these things. Like
Mm.
Mercy's channel now talks about different ways of coming to the UK, of which scholarship is one of them. Please stop making me laugh. I'm being very serious. And I'm not patronizing anybody because I'm a professional. So
Mm.
see? profession. I don't come here to talk about. So you have to go to places that work well for you. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you're not subscribed to this kind of channel, I'm talking about lots of important things. If you're
Yeah,
not subscribed, how would you know about this life?
true.
There are also different people that, not just Mercy, there are different people that do different things. Mercy comes from a very professional point of view. There are people that come from different point of view. So look for them and join them. It is a race. You have to be prepared. If you're not prepared, they'll jam you and push out of the road. And then aside from that, you have to learn to deal with rejections. I think in the scholarship
Mm-hmm.
community, we call it love letters. They'll tell you we're very sorry, you're very good, but we say no. Learn it. It's not a reflection of your ability. It's more or less like a race. In a
Yeah.
race, there are different winners to different people. If me and Messi dress up and go out today, some people will say Messi is more prettier than I am. Does not mean that to other people I'm not prettier than Messi. It's all about perspective and perceptions. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
perceptions, and perceptions is also what the people that select scholarship winners have. For to some of them, certain things are more important than others. Does not
Important.
mean what you're doing is not important. It's more or less what they think they want, you don't fit it. So you have to take that rejection and use it as a fuel to make you apply to others until you get to the person that's looking for exactly what you want to offer and is ready to groom and train you for that. And then while you are waiting for scholarship, if you're not working, volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. You have to build who you are. You are nothing
Mm-hmm.
without volunteering. You have to do internship, strategic internship. You are nothing without your experiences. It's not just only academic experiences you're doing. When I
Mm-hmm.
finished my undergrad, before my NYC, I went to do my internship with ECOWAS, and it changed a lot of things for me. I learned firsthand about what I've been studying on international relations. It
Yeah.
also became a very good resource to pull when I needed anything, or and it's also a good name to drop. I did my internship with it's a good name to drop. So these are the
Yeah.
kind of things you need to do. There are different kind of even I think Mackenzie is doing like a forward program. I've forgotten. These are things you need to put yourself into. Get certificates, free certificates are everywhere. Learn a little bit about research. And everything you are doing, if you want to study law, look for free certificate that can help you. So make yourself better every day or as much as you can. And then hone your writing skills. You cannot be looking for scholarship and you're not writing or reading. You just perish. Because you can't be on a two every day. You have to, even if it's today is two, tomorrow is 2.01. You have to try to make yourself better. You
Mm-hmm.
write more, you share your perspective on your WhatsApp, you share your perspective on your LinkedIn, you share your
I think what
perspective
you're
on your
doing on LinkedIn, you're doing an amazing job. Well
I
done.
try. Yeah, thank you so much. I try, but for some time now I've not been posting so much because this PhD is becoming a lot. But anyway, like you share your perspective there, you write more, you talk
Mm,
about your research, talk about even personal things that interest you, read good books, you try to describe how you feel. These are ways you hone. You look at what you have written 2 months ago and look at how you can make it better. You
yeah.
see, life is full of incremental steps. But if you don't take those incremental steps, you'll be stuck in one position. And that's even something that even till today I'm very afraid of. Try to hone your writing skills. And then lastly, I want to talk about the study routes. For masters, you do masters in the UK mostly 1 year. So people do masters with placement and do it for a year and 18 months or 24 months. So it depends. But there's post study visa available after your masters, and it's available for 2 years. And right now, with the new immigration laws, you can't bring your family. For PhD, the post study visa is 3 years after your studies, and you can bring your family. But also, most times your PhD is going to take 3 years to finish, but then you're always given 4 years. So even after you finish your PhD, you still have some months from your visa to do some things before you apply for your post study. So it's very important to know. And then if you're coming for your master's and you intend to do a PhD, after your master's, don't apply for post study. Most of my friends are suffering it now. So when I finished my master's from Commonwealth, I knew I was going to come for my PhD and I wanted to apply for post study in my PhD. So I didn't do my post study. If you apply for post study in your master's, even when you do your PhD, you're not going to be able to apply for post study in your PhD after using post study in your master's. Yes.
Really?
Yes. So it's very important to know this.
Oh wow.
Extremely, extremely important to know this. And
Hmm.
then also try if relocation is the plan, try aiming for school scholarships because most school scholarship do not have like mandatory requirement for you to return back home. So
Yes.
Commonwealth, Chevening, most of the scholarship, you have to go back home. But you see, the beautiful thing about school scholarship or external scholarship like SW, like scholarship that are not governmentally aligned,
Mm,
you don't have to come back any home. You do your life. So try to look for like what's this thing called? You have to look for like the requirement and expectations from this scholarship. You
yeah.
have to know the scholarship you're applying for. And sometimes when you don't have a choice and you have to apply to the you have to go for the scholarship. That's why it's also good to cast your net wide. Because if you have many options, these are the kind of things you put into consideration when making a decision. But
Mm,
also if you don't have any options and for like your masters and you have to come in, you can come in and find another way out. I came in
mm,
for my masters, I finished my masters, I went back home, and I came back now. Nobody can tell me what to do now, right? But that's how it is. But you have to give yourself, you have to know what you're putting yourself into. You have to be very strategic about it. So, all of these processes are expensive because you have to, for masters, most of these scholarships that gives you conditions, they take care of everything. When I was doing my Commonwealth, they take care of the visa fee, your flight fee, because you're going back home, right? But most of the ones, like most PhD ones that do not have any like conditions for you to go back home, you have
mhm.
to take care of your visa fee, your health insurance fee, and your flight, which is very expensive. For
Yeah.
the price point and everything, I think Messi is more suitable to talk about this. So this is
Mhm.
all I have to share with you all today, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You have really, really done a great job and you have explained it very well. But I've got one question. If anybody has any question, please leave it in the comment section and we will be more than happy to respond. When I say we, I mean Mercy, not my Mercy. The other Mercy. She will answer all of your questions for you. But I just want to say, for people who come in through the Commonwealth scholarship program,
yeah.
can they apply for a postgraduate work visa or they have to go back home?
So another thing is that I'm on live, so I have to be careful. But then again, I don't care. I'm gonna say my truth.
Be
Um,
careful. Don't go and say anything that will implicate you, please.
no, I'm gonna say my truth, my
Yeah, say
own
your
truth,
truth.
nobody's
Yes.
truth. Um, Based on the laws of Commonwealth, you're supposed to go back home. I
Okay.
went back home because I'm not a deviant. I obeyed law to the latter. But I know many people that didn't go back home.
Mm,
So they apply for post-study visa, and I think because it is a lot of people applying at the same time, and it's very difficult for them to check all the time. Most of them went scot-free, and they got the post-study visa. Is it
mm,
advisable to do that?
mm,
No. Try to follow the law because
exactly.
you don't know the implication these things can have for them in the future. So it's really
That's so good.
important to follow due process and do what is right at all times.
Okay. And for people who are considering moving to the UK through the study route, I know we've talked about scholarships. Now, what I want to inquire about is, do they need to apply to the schools first to get an admission before applying for scholarship, or they have to apply for scholarship first before applying for admission to the schools?
So most cases, when I mean most cases, I mean ideally 90%, you should apply to the school first. And then so when you apply to the school, sometimes you can apply to the scholarship before getting admission from the school. And sometimes they have to wait for the school to give you admission before applying for scholarship. Now, those are two ways. But first of all, you have to apply to the school. Now, the school may not have given you admission, but because you have applied, you have like an application number or something,
Oh,
which
yes,
is
yes, yes.
something most of the scholarship will ask you about. And then,
Okay.
but sometimes, I know, for example, the Nigerian but is it an NNPC scholarship? You can get a scholarship before you apply to the school, I
Okay.
think. So it depends on the scholarship, but 90% of the time, you need to apply to the school first. And then you get, sometimes when you apply to the school, you get the scholarship. So the scholarship can come before the school admission will come out, but then
Mm,
it's a scholarship pending you getting admission to the particular school sometimes. But most of them come after the scholarship, you have gotten admission from the school. Internal school scholarship come with the
with
admission.
the
If you
admission.
tell them you can't afford the admission, you can't afford the studies without the scholarship. They won't, most of them will not give you admission until you get the scholarship. So it comes
Yeah.
together. But externally is where you can have these disparities between when the scholarship comes and when the admission comes.
Okay. Oh, that's really really informative. Thank you so much. I don't know if
Mhm.
anybody has any questions. So, Elizabeth said, "Preach, Mercy. Apply to many. Preach." And then Emmanuel said, "You have been amazing. Thank you so much, Mercy, for these wonderful information that you've given to us." I don't think we have much questions. Do you have anything extra you want to tell us about? Any more tips? You told me to remind you something about documents
Yes,
that
I
are
actually
required.
spoke about it, about
Yeah.
the personal statement, and not just focusing on the fact that you have one particular achievement over others.
Mm-hmm.
And what tips do I have to give? So, one of the tips that I can tell is that talked about you have to be I've talked about resilience and dealing with rejections, but I also wanted to know that if you're looking for scholarship, you have to try to have it's always good to apply for scholarship not on your own but within a community because of it,
Okay.
because of information. I think it's something I haven't that's one of the beautiful thing about having scholarship communities. So for example, when you apply for scholarship and you have a community, like for example with the Commonwealth community, you know when informations are coming out, you know when
Mm,
deadlines is approaching, you know when the things you're not clear about what it means. You have other people applying for the same scholarship as you, so you guys can become friends and read each other's work. You know when to expect your acceptance letter. You know the time when if you have not gotten an acceptance letter, it means you're going to get a love letter.
mm,
You're more informed. But if you apply for scholarship on your own, which is most likely going to happen for PhD application, try to have I don't know if it's called a mentor, but I don't want to use the word a mentor. Try to have someone that goes through the journey with you, who can be
mm.
like a friend or someone that have gone through the process before, or someone that do you get what I mean? It's always
Yeah.
good not to be the only one looking at the whole document by yourself for yourself with yourself. Have someone else and they can offer you realistic guidance. And then since we have some time, the opportunities for Africa, if you write opportunities for Africa on your search engine, it will come out. It has one funny flag. I don't know if it's a flag, yellow, green, or something. And then find a phd.com. If you write it on your Google, it will come out. You just have to click find a phd.com and you see different PhD opportunities. And then with find a phd.com, I'm very sure you can filter based on your field.
Okay.
And if you're looking for scholarship or if you're looking for internationally funded scholarship.
Hmm.
So that's why it is nice. So sometimes you just see what is attainable to you and what is
Mm-hmm.
not attainable to you. Have on your have on your notes and email drafts that you can send to mini supervisors. Make it nice. When you're having an email draft, you can say, um, hello, hello, Professor, whatever. Good day, my name is, you say your name, and you say your nationality. I finished I'm writing to you to talk about this
Mm-hmm.
opportunity and I'm trying to put myself up for the position. I finished from this university with this result. I'm interested in this. I've worked here and here, and I'm particularly interested in this particular program or field because this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering if you're interested or if you're looking for. I checked online and they said you're accepting doctoral students. If you don't know the information, you can say because sometimes if you check their pages from their university, they'll tell you if they're accepting doctoral students and the
Mm-hmm.
field of doctoral student that they're interested in. So I checked and I noticed that you're doing a doctoral field in student in this area, which closely aligns to my area. I have
Mm-hmm.
attached my research proposal to you, and I'm open. I want to have some conversations about this if you're interested. I'm also looking for scholarships for this program as I cannot afford it without any scholarship. So you have to be very clear about what you're looking for. So when they look at it and they want to talk to you, there's a high chance that they there's a high chance that they're interested in you, number one. And secondly, they can also forward your email to someone else in the department that will be interested. So this is very important because I remembered I applied to do my PhD also in Canada. And the supervisor I chose initially, I think I'm just good luck. When I chose her, few months after, and she was very interested in my research, she got appointed as dean,
Oh
right?
wow.
So what she did was she forwarded our email thread to another supervisor that was interested in researching me. So at some point, everything I did a lot of things there, but then that school was no longer my first choice because the initial supervisor I was very interested in became dean. But why this is important is because there's a thread, and then you forward it to someone else. The person just have to follow the thread to understand
Yeah. Understand
everything
what.
about you. So you have to be able to express yourself and sell yourself. I think the last thing I want to talk about is selling yourself.
Mhm.
I beg you with God, sell yourself. Nobody knows who you are. So, this thing where you be like, your teacher is marking your script and you feel like the teacher know who you are, so they'll mark the script well.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who you are when you're applying for scholarship. You're just a number, maybe 2 to 5. You're just a number. So if you don't sell yourself, you remain a number. You
Yeah.
don't want to know who you are. I remember when I went for a Commonwealth program in forgotten this place, Windsor, where developmental programs take place, and some top Commonwealth personnel came. And after I made a presentation about my research for my masters, they were arguing who I was, and they were asking me, "Oh, are you studying leadership?" I said no. Someone said, "Are you studying this?" I said no. Someone said, "Are you studying this?" I said no. And I asked them, "Why are they guessing?" They said because they can remember when I was talking, they were remembering some essays that they approved, and they felt I was the student because they don't know who the student is. They only know the essays they read. Right. So
Mhm.
also try to write some. So also try to write something that resonates with someone. Something
Yeah.
that someone wakes up in the morning and think about. Something
Mhm.
that someone goes to bed late at night, and even after meeting you yet like months ago, or like after reading it a year ago, when they hear you talk, they remember the essay they read. Remember
Mm.
to stand out. The world is already full of people. In Nigeria alone, we have over 250 million people. Imagine the amount of people looking for scholarships. So if you don't stand out, you remain there. So I think that's the final encouragement I can give you. Don't remain there, please.
And that's a very good way to end this live today. So thank you so much, Mercy. We
Thank you
are
so much.
very grateful. I'm saying we on behalf of everybody watching this live and whoever is going to watch the live down the line. Thank you so much. You have given us valuable information, and this is vital news that people can, run with and do
Yeah,
more research on. So I don't want to take your time any longer. I want to
thank
say
you.
thank you to those who stayed till the end and watched this live. Mercy, and Mercy is very grateful that you did watch it till the
Thank
end.
you.
And for those just seeing my face for the first time, my name is Mercy, and this channel is all about migration, content on nursing, lifestyle, and blogs. So if this is something that resonates with you, please subscribe, like the content, share it to friends and family members, and turn on your post notification bell so that when I put out a new content, you will be informed and you will, watch the videos when they are out. Thank you so much. And have a good evening, everybody, and have a lovely weekend. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.